Okay, so kind of an awesome update here. Should be a happy video. I went to my psychiatrist appointment today for my monthly med assessment, and after last month's disaster, well, it was really a month, it was 3 weeks ago, but regardless, after the disaster there, where he didn't change any of my meds, and I was all upset and everything. I had talked to awesome therapist, and she talked to my psychiatrist and pretty much read him the riot act about a few things, like don't ask her about her nightmares or what she's remembering, or certain things, because she felt like he was asking me these things and kind of opening me up, and then without any closure at the end, and then it was really messing with me, for the next week. And so she spoke to him about that. She told him that I had a trauma anniversary and it was difficult to deal with, that I had taken a lot of my Klonopin and it still wasn't working well. And so she kind of gave him the rundown before I got there. So when I went today, he really followed everything to the letter, which I think is really fantastic, and just shows how, I think it really shows the kind of doctor he really is, and the kind he wants to become, because like I had said several times, he is a new doctor, and so he's still learning, and that's okay. So I really like that he was so receptive to what she was saying, and then we had a lot of discussion about what do I think about the medicine and what needs to be changed and my views on it, and it was a really great dialogue, so that made me really, really happy. He did change nearly everything. I am now going on 40 milligrams of Celexa. Before I was on 20, and then previously I was also on 0.25 milligrams of Klonopin, and I ended up taking so many of those at a time that he decided to give me the 1 milligram pill of Klonopin, and instead of that being PRN, that will be part of my daily medicine routine. So I'm not just taking that when I feel I need it. I'll take that in the morning when I take the Celexa, and then I'll take it at night about an hour after I take my trazodone to sleep. And then he also prescribed me Ativan for the middle of the day, if my anxiety spikes or if I get triggered. So, and it is a lot of medicine, and I understand that. And he just wants to try. It's a lot of benzos too, which it can definitely be addicting. So, he just wants to try it for a few months, see if I can get stabilized. While I'm building up some essentially new tools to try to deal with all this PTSD stuff. So we're gonna stick with that. And then I had asked him what he thought about me going to IOP, and which of course then he didn't answer right away. He asked me what I thought about it, and I told him that I had wanted to try to see what this new regimen of medicine was, how it was all going to work, and give that a fair shot. Try it for a month, and if there's no marked improvement, serious improvement, then go to intensive outpatient. And he agreed with that. He thought that was a good plan. Actually, I can't give myself credit for that idea. That was a friend of mine, the one that I've mentioned several times before. I should probably end up giving him a name at some point. But he had suggested that maybe since I was in yesterday, I was having a really, really difficult time with the whole idea of being in IOP and really questioning if I was sick enough, if I was unstable enough that I really required that much more medical attention. And so he said that maybe I should really try to just give it a go with what I had for the next month, and then if that wasn't working, I should definitely go to IOP. And today, being that all this medicine has changed, that is exactly what I'm going to do. Just give it the old college try and see what else I can do. See what other tools I can build up in my arsenal, and besides just medication, more behavioral change and modifications, that sort of thing. And if there's not a marked improvement in my binging and purging, and in my anxiety, and in the triggers and all of that, then figure out the logistics of IOP. So that's the plan, and which is awesome. And actually, Wednesday, I had taken a blanket with me when I went to therapy on Wednesday, because I was just feeling really unsafe, and if I have something to hide under, then I kind of feel like more sheltered. It's easier to speak, and then I just feel safer. It's not the blanket specifically that calms me down. It's just being covered up and not feeling so exposed. So I had taken a blanket with me, and it was a really difficult session, but at the same time, I left and I felt safer. And we had done a lot of work on, resolution at the end, just to make sure that I wasn't feeling so open and vulnerable when I left her office. And it worked well. And then I think having the blanket there really was, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, but I think that really was the tipping point that really, that it was really like the factor that changed a lot of things. Having the blanket there was really the factor that made the most difference, I think. It was just comforting, and so I had left, and I had every intention of going to buy binge food, and then I didn't. As I was driving home, I didn't really feel like I needed to, and I was kind of tired anyhow. And then I was like, oh, okay, I don't really want to buy anything. I don't have the money. I'll just binge when I get to work. And then I got to work and I didn't binge. And then I went to work again after I had picked up some more hours. And so I ended up working until like 10:30, and I was like, oh, well, then I'll just binge there. And then I never did. And so it was nice. It was a nice reprieve to go an entire day. And then yesterday was a really difficult day, and I cried a lot and freaked out. And but then I called my therapist after I'd gotten home, after I had had a ton of binge food with me, and had every intention of binging, like the second I got off the phone with her. But when we got on the phone, she was immediately like, go and take a milligram of Klonopin right now. Go do that. And then she told me to take my trazodone, so I ended up taking my trazodone. And so at the end there, I was calm and I was pretty drugged, and I was ready to go to sleep. And so I didn't have the time to go and binge and purge yesterday. And so I have all this binge food waiting for me. And I woke up this morning planning to go to my psychiatrist appointment and come home and binge and purge, and do a few things around the apartment, and then go to boyfriend's house. And I left my psychiatrist appointment feeling pretty good, feeling like I was heard and understood and acknowledged, and I wasn't triggered, and I don't know, I don't feel like I need to be doing that today. Like, it's in the back of my mind because it's like, you know, now we're looking at, you know, the beginning of day 3 without binging and purging, and that's slightly disconcerting in some part of my head. And, you know, habitually, like, that's like, it's what it's part of, like, um so and you know, so day 3, and it's looking like, get my words out here. So day 3, and part of me wants to do it just because of, like, the habitual nature of binging and purging, but instead I am heading to boyfriend's house, and I don't foresee myself doing it today, and so I think just for today, and I excuse me, and I know that's like an AA term, but so, you know, not to borrow it if I shouldn't be borrowing it, but just for today, this is what I'm doing. It's not the only reason that binging and purging is on my radar is because I'm used to doing it, but it's not something that I necessarily feel like I have to do because it's going to resolve some feeling in me that I can't resolve on my own, um, in the nature of, like, triggers and stuff like that. So I could potentially go 3 days today, and that, as of lately, that's huge because it's been more like 3 or 4 times a day, in the past few weeks that I've been doing it, and so it'll be nice, a nice break if I can make it through the rest of the day. But so yeah, so for today, this is the plan today, and more to the point, for right now, this is the plan today. I don't really want to get ahead of myself because I'm sure I'll psych myself out. So so yeah, so that's the plan. I'm almost at boyfriend's, and that's that's it. So it's been a good day. It's been a difficult past couple of days, but difficult doesn't necessarily equate to bad. It's just trying. It's just work. Um, but it's not, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad. So yeah, that's where we are. So I hope that you all have lovely days and have a lovely weekend. And I will I will upload soon, and I'll make sure that I'm more consistent with my uploads. I'm sure it's kind of confusing to suddenly see, you know, like 8 new videos all from the same, posted on the same day, but from, you know, a 14-day time span. That's kind of frustrating, I'm sure. So anyway, I'll correct that. And you all have a fantastic